There's a lot of areas in health world where people deal with survivor's guilt in a lot of different ways and for a lot of different reasons.
Good morning, guys.
Cheers to a Monday morning.
Monday morning musings. Here we are.
Where it's Monday, it's a rainy Monday, so you put your Let's Do This shirt on. The oversized one, this is Peter's. Hoping for cat snugs. That's why the neck is stretched out, because he was with me just a little bit ago, Harry.
Speaking of the Let's Do This, I was thinking, I was working on the store this morning and I was thinking about how many people have resonated with the Let's Do This, and like I know a lot of people have gotten that for whether it's birth or a surgery or a hospital stay, and it's been kind of like this of you got this, and I just like, I love that. I feel like it kind of has created this like shared experience among a lot of Frey Life people.
And that's how it started. I was about to go in for my second sinus surgery, maybe. Feeling pretty intimidated, and so Peter went home. I was in the hospital. Peter drove home.
That's right.
We had already ordered these sweatshirts, and then he made the decals and ironed them on. So this particular one you cannot buy because it's on a sweatshirt that we can't offer on the store, but there are shirt options on the store, and it really did. It's crazy how like just putting on a shirt that says 3 words can kind of help you mentally be like, oh, I do not feel ready, and I do not want to, let's do this. No. But there's nothing you can do about it. Oops, sorry. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to do it. You have to do whatever you're about to do, whether it's birth or a hospital stay or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so you might as well get a shirt that makes you feel like you can, and you just do it. And I feel like that's how it worked. I remember we both wore them on that morning of surgery.
Yeah.
And I remember like pink cheeks. It was so hot in that pre-op room.
Oh, I don't remember this. Man, it feels, in some ways, that season of life feels so far away, but in other ways it feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like that season of like our second home was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And
totally.
You know, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, we're so thankful for Trikafta and where Mary is now that we don't have an impending hospital stay in our minds.
Yeah.
Like that was always like, we pretty much always had a game plan for the next hospital stay, you know? Like,
yeah.
We didn't have like a hospital bag packed, but like, it was kind of like at any moment if Mary had to go in the hospital, we were ready, because that was the routine and rhythm of life we were in.
Yeah, it really was. And if I wasn't getting ready for a hospital stay, we were just unpacking from a hospital stay or at home IVs, or, you know,
right,
all of those rhythms. And it's still so startling to realize it's been 18 months of stability. And
have we hit 18 months? Let's see, August to January.
Oh, okay, not quite.
So next month is 18 months?
Probably.
Crazy.
And it's interesting because I feel pretty far from that hospital rhythm, the inpatient rhythm. I do feel, I mean, it is very close in my memory. Like I feel like I was just there,
yeah. But
I also feel that distance. But what I don't feel the distance from is that that reality that symptomatically I could change at any moment. Since I've been on Trikafta, I have caught 2 pretty good colds and then 1 really, really bad virus. And it's interesting because I can look back in my phone at last March when I had that virus, and I had pictures. I was coughing up blood for like a month straight. My cough went right back to that really deep rumbly, like, you guys remember it.
Yeah.
You guys remember it. And I know that at any moment things could change. Things could go back symptomatically. But one thing that I'm finding more and more confidence in is my body's ability to fight. When I got that first cold, I was like, oh no, like here we go again. It's all gone. The Trikafta magic is gone. And that's what it felt like, because it did symptomatically snapped right back to pretty close to pre-Trikafta life. But what we found was I went on 2 oral antibiotics and they worked.
Yeah.
And then we were like, did that just happen? And it seems to take me, these last 3 sicknesses, seems to take me about a month to get back to my Trikafta normal. It's maybe a little longer than that, but it's crazy because it used to be if I were to catch a cold or something, I thought that was my hand.
You thought that was your hand?
I thought I was like this.
You know you've been married for 10 years when you think that your hand is your spouse's hand. Anyways, you think back.
I think back, yeah, like when I would get sick pre-Trikafta, it would just ramp up, and it's like mild fevers, coughing is getting worse, and then worse until it's like unavoidable.
Yeah.
And so as it's kind of like this. What?
Guess what?
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's so different.
It's so different, and I do feel like I'm getting to a place where I can count on my body to fight things off. And I also know full well that that could change at any moment, and so I do hold it loosely.
Yeah.
But
well, I think the reality is like your body has a stronger baseline. Like that's
Yep.
where we're at, and that's just a much more comforting thing when you're in the midst of a pandemic and when you're in the midst of flu season. Like, we're trying to be as careful as ever, but there is that peace of mind that if we didn't have Trikafta in this season, like, it would feel a whole lot different.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, life would look so different. You know, you'd be in and out of the hospital, and
I'd be alone in and out of the hospital.
And just look so different. But I was gonna say, I really think that, I know we've said this before, but I think it's God's grace that we moved 3 months into starting Trikafta, or 2 months in, to starting Trikafta, in that we have lived this season in a different place, in a different stage of life, a different pace of life. And because of that, I think that has caused a distance in our minds from that season of life that was really, really hard.
Yeah.
And obviously we made the move for completely different reasons. But it has been just one of the sweetest gifts to us in this past year, that we have a physical and mental and emotional distance from that season. We're not visiting the same hospital. We're not in the same house. We're not, you know, riding the same roads that have the same memories. And so there is just a grace and a gift in that that I'm really thankful for.
Yes. And you know, if we hadn't moved and we were still driving those same roads where all of those hard conversations happened, and walking those same halls where hard conversations happened about health and decisions, and God would walk us through it, and we would get through it one day at a time.
You know, and I think like anything in life, if we hadn't moved, like, there would be a different kind of grace in that season, in that, like, some of those memories would be redeemed, and like those locations would have new memories, and it would feel even more real, like the change that has happened. But just like anything in life, you embrace where God has you in this season, and you see his grace in the fact that we moved, and we're really grateful for it. And
and I also think very like that kind of thing, like there's not really a word to say it, but so many CF patients and other people, not just CF patients, who still deal with daily fevers, that still have to go to the hospital frequently. And so I just I know that they're getting through it one day at a time, one challenge at a time, but my heart really beats for them as they have to go through the COVID screening with the fever thing. And it's like, I have everyday fevers because of CF, or, fill in the blank, and the miscommunications because of that. And just like the extra that they are having to walk through currently because of all of that.
And I mean, I don't think we've talked about this really on the vlog too much, but like there is kind of a survivor guilt in you feeling bad, like in the change that Trikafta has brought about in your life. There's full well what some patients are going through, and so there's like this, like you said, like it's kind of like speechless, without words, that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Wishing that I could, and I do think that we'll probably upload an interview I did a month or two back. We'll probably upload that at some point, but I did talk a lot more about, and it was me crying the whole time, because talking about that I wish I could allow another patient who hasn't had this respite, and the feeling of like, I know that I can't like rent out a respite day or month, or like trade with them so they can have a break. That reality sits heavy for me, and it's reality. And I know, and so basically, like, since I can't share the physical respite, just in some small way helping those patients know that they are not forgotten, and we are fighting with them. And I have been so thankful. There have been a few things I've been able to say yes to, like virtual interviews and this sort of thing, for fundraising efforts for that last 10% of CF patients. And I realize I wouldn't have been able to say yes to those before Trikafta, just because of like, bandwidth. Like, personally, I don't have enough like emotional or physical energy to pour out that much. And it's like this real honor to be asked to do those sorts of things, but also to be able to say yes. And I remember that day doing that interview, and just afterward just bawling so hard, and I ended up getting a migraine because of just the adrenaline, the emotions, and the sadness. And it was all worth it. And I was able to do that. And I think there's a lot of areas in health world where people deal with survivor's guilt in a lot of different ways and for a lot of different reasons. And so maybe you're somebody who has experienced that, and probably not like specifically a CF patient. This, like, CF patients who watch our videos is a pretty small proportion of those of you who watch our videos. So that's why we don't usually focus our videos like to all of the CF patients, because it's a very small number. I mean, if you think in the US there are 30,000 CF patients, 70,000 worldwide. At least that's the last number I've heard.
Yeah, approximately.
Yeah, and there's
not a huge number.
No, and definitely not every CF patient watches our videos.
There's just a handful. And so,
So yeah, just basically like if you've experienced that sort of thing and you're processing that sort of thing, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So
Those are our Monday morning musings without any script or prompting. We just are sharing our lives and hearts with you guys, and thanks for tuning in, and
as always,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, guys.
Good night. And Ollie's back there. Good night, Ollie. You make a great backdrop for our videos. Just